You guys may not know this young fella. This is Richard Spade Jr.
I'm new. Technically, I am the new guy because I haven't been here.
It's been a long time.
It's good to have you back. Thank you. It's good to be back. 3 years, pre-COVID.
Longer than that. Well, 2019 was your last one.
Yeah.
So let's call it 4.
We'll call it 4 years, everybody. That's 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
long time.
Yeah, long time.
You notice the changes?
Yeah, man. Wow.
The carpet?
Same carpet. Yeah, same
This isn't
carpet.
gonna work.
That's same.
Still there,
Same one.
I mean,
Yep.
they're too tall.
Yeah,
The wheel's the same?
Oh, good. The wheel's still here.
And speaking of same, when we have a door, a secret door from the green room that leads to the back, to the alley that gets us backstage.
Secret door.
Secret door.
Yep.
It's no longer a secret, sorry. And
Where exactly?
the first probably 7 or 8 years, we would get here, the first year we opened it, huge fire alarm, so loud.
Yeah.
And so we close it. And then the next year we'd go, last year the alarm went off. They're like, no, they turned the alarm off. We're good. Absolutely, we told them it's fine. Open the door. Shut it. And it was kind of the joke, a running joke. And then they would turn, and then it was actually turned off. Like, no, they turned it off.
Right,
for
it's off.
3 years, 4 years?
Yeah.
It just happened.
It happened again. And it really,
old times.
you die a little bit inside. It scares the
so loud.
pee out of you.
Yes, but it also is nostalgic.
It is.
It's like, I might die, but I'll die remembering the good old days.
Why does it have to be so loud? Why can't it be like smooth jazz? You know what I mean? Like,
Please make it to the exit.
so much nicer.
You're all gonna die. Because I feel like, Rob, in the grid sort of emergency,
Oh, right.
the emergency exit shouldn't.
That's right. And keep forgetting it. It's actually an emergency door.
It's a very like, you're gonna burn to death, gonna die.
Grab your loved one.
Get outside for fresh air, no smoke, no fire, air.
Why is that? Oh, is that so that door is if there's a fire.
You go because now you're alerting everybody else. We got a problem. We're going out the emergency exit.
Right.
Rob's out there following.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like a guest on your podcast right now.
Rob and I have a podcast for those who don't know. We're going to tell this story right now. We had such an opportunity. We do a couple of podcasts, Rob and I, and one of them is a rewatch podcast of Supernatural. That's a television show. You may not know it.
Supernatural. Anybody?
Nobody?
No.
Oh, dang.
What channel?
Supernatural Then and Now is what the podcast is called, and we delight in having crew and cast and supervisors of music and people who've been involved in the show in all aspects. Guest actors, people who maybe have written songs for this. We try to just populate our show with guests, especially if we know them, especially if they're friends.
However, we don't really watch the episodes until the night before we're going to record the episode.
It keeps it fresh, folks. It's called keeping it fresh.
So this last time, is this the story you're going to tell?
Yeah.
We sit down. We're recording the podcast.
Yeah.
And we get all the way through the podcast, do the interview, everything. And the very last thing on our script, we have to read the credits.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, starring Jared Padalecki, Jensen Ackles.
Which always surprises us. We forget they're in the show.
They starred. The 2 leads.
Yeah.
And then the guest stars are featuring music by Jason Mans. And we were like, what? How did we?
We both were like in the podcast going, this episode features music by Jason Mann. What? Jason? Rob, did you know Jason? No, I had no idea. We're like, producer Steve. Producer Steve's like, who's Jason Mann?
Yeah, he was like, you guys know this guy?
The only thing that put it on my radar at all was a tweet that I got mentioned in, and it just said, the funniest thing that was on this week's episode was Rich and Rob forgetting Jason Mans' only appearance on Supernatural.
Well, we didn't forget it. We were completely oblivious.
We watched the episode and missed that was you.
Which might be even more insulting, but I didn't, not intentionally.
I think it's so perfect. I love it.
And then the bummer is, so now, we'll have to have Jason on at some point to talk, give a guest review or something and get you involved in the podcast. But we missed the moment to have you discuss your involvement.
The only episode that would ever make sense for me to be a guest on your podcast is over.
No, because we do guest reviews.
So last night we were hanging out, catching up, and they were telling me this story.
Yeah.
And I can't remember which one of you was like, but we'll get you on there. Your next song.
That was me, because
you were like, the next song, we'll get you on there. And I was like, no. And you're like, no. I'm saying the next time, like later in the season, they use your, and I was like, no. That was it. That was the one.
Yeah, it turns out that was the one song Jason did in Supernatural, which is the takeaway here. It's a lesson in capitalizing on your moment. I mean, we're having a discussion.
Thank you very much.
17 years after this song dropped on the show.
Most people don't know that if you have 9 seconds is the cutoff.
Right.
If you have 9 or more seconds on any television show,
Right.
you can do conventions for 15 years.
Wow. That's,
Thank you.
I had no idea.
Well, little known fact.
Yeah. But I believe you because we see it in action. I mean, you're a staple of the concert. You're the cornerstone. Literally, we're doing conventions before Rob and I were doing conventions based on your 14-second.
Well, we'll have you on the show. We'll have you back.
No, I won't do it.
Yeah, refuse. Now he can't get him. Now he's too big. He's all blown up. Anyway,
It was a convention gig I got to do.
it did, but it did bring extra humor to that moment of us going, holy shit. Oops. Egg on our face.
Yeah. It's happened with other actors that we know that guest starred on the show, and then Steve has booked other people, and then after we watch it, we're like, oh crap, he's a good friend of mine.
We could have
We could have just asked him to do it.
Yeah. We don't know until
Who
we
was
watch.
the guest that week?
Phil.
Phil Signature? Phil, what was the episode title? Do you remember?
Lazarus Rising.
No, it's Misha.
Misha.
Oh, that guy.
No, we couldn't-
He's got a couple other episodes
Yeah.
to choose from.
It was Misha. Yeah.
Oh man.
That was a mistake in
That makes it even
hindsight.
worse.
It made no
That makes it even
sense.
worse,
Yeah.
huh? Oh well.
Nobody really wanted to hear from Misha about his debut on the show.
No.
That's
So boring.
Not that important of a character.
I haven't watched the rest of the seasons, but I assume his character doesn't return.
No.
So, what kind of impact does that guy have? Very little.
And it's crazy. He's still doing conventions too.
Wow. Talk about milking
Some
it.
people get lucky. You know what I mean?
Sure do. It's weird. It looks like those words are coming out of the side of your head for a second, Rob. Look like you're a thought bubble.
No, those.
You had words going in.
I know. We're going, and that's something I can speak Italian.
Speak Italian.
Robert?
Richard, everybody, you look great. What a great audience
Yeah.
this is.
You say that like the last couple of groups have been real train wrecks.
Shout out to Sound and Lights, because these
Oh,
people
yeah.
are all over.
Well done.
Sound and
I
Lights.
mean, how great is that? I mentioned the audience.
Sound and Lights. That's actually their names. Actually,
Sound and Lights.
they're given names.
Johnny Sounds.
Strangely likes the sound and sound does like.
Giuseppe Lights. Get that for it. It's confusing.
Oh, that's so dumb. That's hilarious. Okay. Does anybody have questions? I know we'll be here all weekend.
We'll be here so much.
If you don't have a question now, you'll think of one.
Yeah, Rob's here to field your question.
Yeah, and here we got one. This young lady, first time at a con.
Yeah.
I'm so nervous. If you three were to be replaced with Muppets, which Muppets would they be?
Oh, that's finally a good question. I've been waiting for decades. I think I'd be replaced by Animal.
Of course.
I think that's a cool replacement, but I don't.
It's wrong?
I don't think that's you as a Muppet.
Okay, I'd be replaced by Beaker.
Oh my God.
That's a little better. I think you'd be replaced by one of the guys up in the
The old guys?
Yeah, the old guy.
What are those guys' names?
Statler
I
and
think that's
Waldorf.
both of you.
Say it again.
Statler and Waldorf.
Walter and
Statler,
Statler.
Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf.
Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf.
That would be
Is that their first name or last names?
I don't know.
And Big Bird. Big Bird in the middle.
Statler, Waldorf. Okay, and Big Bird?
Yes.
Sweetums.
The Big Bird.
Who's Sweetums?
The big monster guy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like Big Brown?
If I wasn't one of those guys, I might be, who's the guy with the long nose?
Gonzo.
Yeah, because he's
you're
kind of nervous and he's nervous energy and he's trying to keep it all together, guys.
If I was going to be
The only Muppet that sweats. It's the only Muppet that sweats.
Yeah, exactly.
I would like to be replaced by the Swedish Chef because he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd get. You're right. I guess. Okay, so I'm Statler or Waldorf. You're Gonzo, and you're Sweetums.
I don't know that, but yes.
Yeah, he said Big Bird.
You would recognize. I think.
I wouldn't. I'm not a. I didn't. Never really.
You never saw the Muppet movies or any of that stuff?
No.
Why?
Get out.
I don't know.
Sorry, guys.
No Sesame Street for you as a child?
Sorry,
Wait a minute, you watched Sesame Street as a child.
I did not.
You watched the Muppet Show when it was prime time slot. You watched the Muppet
He's
movies.
a lot younger than us, dude.
How do
The
you
Muppet
learn how
movies.
to count without the
I did
count?
watch Muppet movies because I didn't watch Sesame Street. So I was like, I don't know that. I'm not into that.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry. I don't.
Let's go with Big
You're
Bird.
dead.
You have a question?
Yes. I have a question because for the photo ops, do you like it more when fans choose the pose or anything crazy, or do you like it more when you can choose what?
Fans.
Fan choice.
Fans' choice.
Challenge accepted.
It's the fan choice. In fact, when people walk in and go, I do not know what to do, you choose, I go, great, we're standing here. So,
Which is nothing wrong with just...
nothing wrong with standing there, but if you have an idea, by all means express it once we're in the photo.
It's really funny when people have when they have drawn out instructions.
Yeah, stick figures.
This hand goes here. Okay, then okay.
Like trying to put an IKEA desk together.
Yeah, exactly.
I can tell a funny photo op story that I've told before, but it's true. One time, only one time, well maybe more than once at this point, but one time early on, I turned down, I said no to a photo idea. A young lady said, I would like to do this pose. And she held up the example and I'm like, oh, no, I can't. Thank you, no, I can't. That's it's just a bridge too far. I have children and the internet and my wife, and I guess
I already have children.
yeah, I can't do that photo. I apologize. But the funny part was, the example she was using was her doing that pose with Misha.
Yes.
That's so good.
Apparently he was fine with it.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that one.
Thank you. We eagerly await your crazy photo op poses.
Yes, and thank you, Richard, for being here. Because
Oh.
the last time
Happy to be here. I had fun it worked out. Thank you.
Well, I guess that's a note for us.
Look, it's just there were three...
Yeah, they love you.
They were thank you, I love you too. I don't think that was for me, but... that was for Richard, as a side note, I love you.
I'll feel that.
But yeah, there was 3 in a row you weren't here.
Yeah, no.
And there were a lot of people that come up to my autographs and they're like, I'm excited you're here, Rob, but really, Richard. It's very sad. No Richard.
That was big for a fun autograph. Cool. Who may be
Cool,
this out too?
No, but I'm excited he's here too. It's nice you're here.
It's good to be back. I've missed being here. Super excited to be back. I love this convention. I love these people. I love you people. I love these people. I love being in Rome. It's just awesome. So I'm so glad to be back.
That's about as much.
That's as much love as I think I've ever gotten from you.
Yeah, that's all you're getting.
And I honestly, there was a great opportunity to go, and I love Jason. You could have done that.
Robert, come on. That's day 3 joke.
Right.
I feel cuddled right now.
That's it? Yeah. That's what you get?
Aw.
All right, let's take a question from this young lady.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Angelique.
Hi,
Hello,
Angelique.
Angelique.
Where are you from?
I'm from France.
Richard has something he'd like to say to you.
Quand je suis très malade, je vais dans la cuisine et je mange une grande salade. Just a little piece of advice.
How's your impermeable?
Ah, c'est incroyable. Et quand il pleut, c'est formidable.
D'accord là-dessus.
There you go.
I'm not agree with you. It's not really fun reading.
You're arguing with poetry, I don't know.
They make it different.
So my question was for you, Richard.
Huh?
I was wondering, in season 2 of Supernatural, you appear.
Can you raise the microphone up a little bit?
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
still it's falling.
There we
I don't know
go.
why. I was wondering. Oh my god.
That's what it's supposed to do. That's what it's there for. It's making my voice so loud.
Okay, I was wondering, in season 2 of Supernatural, we see you, and I was wondering if you already the angel Gabriel, or it's just the trickster?
Oh, for that, no. At that point, the first episode of Supernatural, actually every episode of Supernatural, you never really knew what they were planning in the future. I'm not sure they ever truly knew what they were planning in the future. So no, when I did that first episode, it was just to do that one episode, to be the trickster, and they left the door open like they always do, at least they often do. But no, I had no idea if A, I would ever come back, or B, if I did come back, it would be to do something differently. In fact, I was pretty 1,000% sure that I would never come back. It was just meant to be one episode. So anything that happened after that was a surprise to me. So no, I did not know they were going to turn the character into Gabriel. And I'm not really kidding. I don't think they did either. The more Rob and I have done the podcast, the more we've interviewed the writers. Eric obviously had a giant idea of what he wanted the series to be, but where they pulled those characters from sometimes came from, well, that person was fun, let's now reuse that person and find a way to get them into the giant arc. And I think Rob and I both benefited from that.
Exactly, because they never knew what that actor, if that would be exactly right or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, we were both hired one-offs.
Right, so no, I did not know. And yet here I am.
Thanks for
That's a
coming.
good question.
Merci beaucoup.
I have
Je vous
a,
en prie.
I have a follow-up question for both of you.
Yes?
If you had known then what you know now, if you had known that you were God, how different do you think that character would have been?
I'm just guessing, don't think it would have been very different. Honestly, because the foundation of the character, which is sort of a testament to the good writing, it was a very three-dimensional sort of build they already had. And I think even if it was the idea was, you're going to be this, but later we're going to reveal that you're that, unless there was some Easter egg they were trying to plant, the goal would be to not tip your hat to a character switch down the road. So I think it would have been very much the same, would be my guess.
Same?
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
Except for I would have been less neurotic when I left set.
Exactly. Knowing that I'll be
Hey,
back.
coming back.
Yeah, I think pretty much the same. I mean, I might have, maybe tried a few things, but yeah, I'm glad it took the route it did because it kind of organically.
Well, that's going to say the irony is it worked because you did what you did, and had you tried to infiltrate something else in there,
Well, that was kind of
You
my
could flip
thought.
the
Like
switch.
because don't you kind of have to figure out a unique angle so it's not just the words on the page and
Right.
the guy that's there. Like you have to have your own backstory and everything.
sure.
But like if you knew that, how would that backstory have affected your ability to play it straight?
Well, I do think that's a little bit of life in TV, whether you're a guest star, a recurring, or a regular. You'll get the script and go, "Oh, I murdered Dave. Oh shoot, I guess I should have maybe handled that dinner scene differently." You're discovering when the scripts are coming out.
But then afterward, people are like, "Oh, the dinner scene was so brilliant."
You
but you
can
didn't
tell.
know.
Exactly. I know. There's the irony.
They
Good
never
question.
tell-
Thank you for your
They
question.
never tell us anything. You really are guessing a lot of the time,
All the time.
And it really would have been nice to know, I'm thinking of other jobs I've had too, where they don't tell you, like one time I did this, I was on this series and all of a sudden I had a friend and I was like, I'm confused about the guy who works with me in the lab. Why is he there? you know, and I've done the whole thing. I did a whole episode. I'm like, it's just weird to me that this guy just appears. All of a sudden, I've got a best friend there, and they're like, oh, they didn't tell you? I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, he's a figment of your imagination. I'm like, well, that would have been good to know for all the scenes we already shot.
Side note, some of your best work.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
That's hilarious. Right here, question.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can't, but you can tilt that thing down.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I apologise to Jason and Rob, but this is a question that I have been wanting to ask Richard for so long.
All right.
So fine, no pressure. So finally, I get to ask you. In the episode Proverbs
Okay,
that you directed,
right.
there is a photograph of Jensen doing a Spider-Man leap from the top of the
Right.
bunker.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, yes.
Yeah, it's not a manipulation, it's because it's a CW photographer that did it.
hmm
Could you tell us the story behind it and why you didn't use it?
It was it was a stunt that we were doing where Jensen and Jared were fighting because Jensen was possessed. I can't remember the detail, but he's possessed or something and got a demon soul or something's going on.
He,
So they're
he was Marco Kane.
right. Okay, Margaret Kane. Right. So they're fighting him on in coordinating the fight. We had done the fight coordination to be that Jared gets knocked punched, and then thrown through onto the table, onto the map table, and that Jensen was going to continue. The fight cuts away at some point from we don't see the whole resolution of the fight. We come back and they're somewhere else fighting.
And he's got him against the
Correct.
wall.
So it was that piece of connective tissue wasn't really. It was funny. We were talking about who's going to do the fall for Jared. There's a lot about because Jared had to do the fall, and at some point Jared's like, I can do it. It's a big mat. We had a bunch of mats down there, so he's like, I feel comfortable doing this. So we had Jared do the fall, and then Jensen at some point is like, what am I doing? What happens after this? I'm like, well, you've got to move in the thing. He's like, I'm just up here in the railing. That's it. Just do this. And like, well, there's a jump in time. I mean, we didn't have enough time or money to shoot another fight sequence down on the table. Like it was sort of this happens up there. He lands, and then we go away and come back, and they're somewhere else. We lean forward. So Jensen's like, well, I should at least jump off the railing. I should at least jump down there. It's like, sure, man, jump off the railing. Sounds great. So of course, because Jared had already done his big fall, he's like, I want to do something. So he did. He waited. We cleared Jared out of the way. So he did that leap, and they took a picture of it. But there was no scene to continue to. There is no connective tissue. People are like, why'd you cut that out, Rich? I'm like, it doesn't go anywhere. There's no. You're just being landing, going, we good? There's nothing. But it's a bunch of pads he landed. Made for a cool shot.
Yeah.
Made for a cool still photo. Made for a lot of angry tweets aimed at me. And that was. Okay, it's been fine. But that's why, because we were so excited to have that fight and really fought for a lot of really cool stuff like the punches and did some really cool, interesting fight choreography for that sequence to really put impact between the real actors. So we fought hard to be able to use Jared and Jensen in a safe but exciting way and not have to lean on too much stunt work or stunt performers. But we were just so limited in the time we had to tell that story, not just in shooting it, but on screen. The episode is huge. You can only allot so much time for those moments, and we needed to get to the next chapter of that fight, so we weren't able to use that little piece.
It would have been really cool in the gag room.
It would have been really cool, what?
In the bloopers or the gag room.
Oh yeah, that's above my pay grade. I don't get to make those decisions, but you're not wrong. It would have been cool.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
I have another question, real quick.
Nobody has more questions in this convention than Jason.
I know. Could we have the lights on the audience up for just 1 second? How many of you are new?
Wow, that's a good number.
Okay.
What's your assessment, Doctor?
So a lot of new folks.
New folks. Yeah. Welcome.
No, there's no follow-up to that? I thought there was going to be a...
I was just gauging whether or not we should tell stories that these folks have heard 75 times. And I think we should.
I I gotta say, it's pretty level playing field out there, new to veteran, you know what I mean?
Did you have a question?
That mic seems a little low, unless you're gonna do something other than ask a question. I don't know. Hi,
Welcome back, Rich.
thank you so much.
You are missed.
Thank you, appreciate that.
It's lovely to see you.
Remember, if I'm not here and you can't tell me directly, always tell Rob at his autograph table. He likes to let me know. Heck, even if you don't want him to sign anything, say, I don't want your signature, I just want you to know that I miss Rich.
You're driving him to drink.
I love it. 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 This guy. That's great. Yes, ma'am. You have a question?
So, I had the opportunity a few weeks ago to go walking with a friend over Watership Down, and I was wondering if there are any sort of locations of favourite books or films that you've had the opportunity to visit or would really like to visit.
I can remember I have one that I visited by accident, kind of. I didn't realize I was there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is where they shot this. It was an older movie from the 70s, a movie called Midnight Express. Remember that movie? Brad Davis trying to smuggle heroin into Turkey or hash into Turkey, and ends up in a Turkish prison. It's an hilarious film. If you haven't seen it, get the kids. Real laugh riot for the whole family. Anyway, I was on the island of Malta.
Wow.
We get a Maltese back into the house, and realized that's the scene with Brad. Well, I don't want to give away the movie, but in the movie, Brad's running down one of those roads. And I'm like, oh wow, they came to Malta to shoot the end of the movie. Because they didn't shoot that part of Turkey, but Malta had been occupied by the Turkish at some point in its life and had a similar architectural style. So they used the outside of this area in Malta to double for Turkey. So that was really cool. I'm like, oh wow, I love that movie, and what a cool location to find myself in. It's also where they shot Popeye, the Robin Williams movie. And there's an area called Popeye Island over there, which is interesting. And then also, the bar, they were shooting Gladiator, and the bar where Oliver Reed dropped dead is in Malta.
Wow.
Yeah, so Oliver Reed died in Malta. So Malta really is a feast for the eyes for set tours, so don't miss out.
As this person knows.
Yeah.
This panel brought to you by Malta's Tourism.
Jason?
Well, I would say that, have you guys seen Circus Maximus in Rome? It's obviously a very famous place. I now only know of it as people come up to me and quote a story that I tell often, which is early in these conventions, Richard and I decided to be dorks and not take the van back, and we were just going to walk back. I believe Rich perhaps had a paper map that was leading the way.
Damn right I did.
And we were looking at Circus Maximus, and this was early in our friendship, so I wasn't quite as accustomed to his humor, and we kind of had a moment like at this place that you've heard of and read about and everything, and we were kind of just like, man, that's crazy. Like, you know, your whole life you hear about the chariot races and all that stuff, and like, this is it. That's crazy. And there was just kind of a moment, and Rich kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and he took a very big step back, and I was like, in my mind going, I made it awkward. It was weird. Gosh, I should stop. And he goes, awkward segue, and I was like, ugh. And then a very awkward family rode between us on segways. And the joke like landed better with each family member that rode by on a Segway. And I needed like 5 minutes after that. I laughed.
He laughed so hard, and I gotta be honest, it's not even one of those jokes that I thought was gonna work. And it killed you. And we still talk about it.
That's a classic fake joke right
Yeah.
there, too.
I was, yeah.
We have to get off the stage, but I'll answer you real quick. My band. See everybody? Good to see you. Great talking.
Hi everybody. Hi. I saw they were standing. I've never stood for the duration of one of these before. I feel like it's like TED talking. Maybe I'll try. How are y'all doing today, by the way? Good. Welcome to Italy. To those of you who are not from here. To those of you who are here. No? I'll try out some of this apple juice. That looks like actual grape juice. One of these is actual grape juice. Jesus. Has it just been then on stage? It's almost gone. Probably something a little bit. If there wasn't that much, they got I drank so much of it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I got my luggage here this time, by the way. I didn't trust the plane system, so I took it myself, and it worked. It would have got lost too, because they did screw up my flights, and I just got on a flight that I didn't have a ticket for, kind of thing. So, I'm growing, I'm learning. Left my mom at home on this one, so I really do want to sell that thing. I know, teenager, we're really growing. But yeah, what do you got? Hi.
Hi. Well, to start off with, I'm really sad that the Winchesters lost their season 2.
Thank you so much.
So my question is that I found the conversation between John and Mary at the end of episode 10 really interesting. It showed that John in the mothership did exactly what Mary didn't want him to do. So I don't think. So how do you think John in Winchesters would react if he knew what John in Supernatural did?
I was really hoping that we would have gotten to that point at some point, for young John to see kind of what he becomes. So I'm really disappointed that the show was canceled and we didn't get to do that. But I would have loved to have had a scene where Jeffrey Dean Morgan comes back in time at a pivotal moment where John's making a decision that's kind of leading him down the same road, and had Jeffrey Dean urge young John Winchester not to make the decision. But I guess the answer to your question would be, I think he'd be really disappointed. I think he'd be really, really sad, because everything that he's trying to do is the opposite of what he ends up becoming. And I think that that's, from my conversations with Jeffrey, really what I was trying to bring to the role was exactly what Jeffrey did, which is he was just trying to be a good dad and failed at every turn. Every turn that he should have taken a left, he took a right. And so that's, I think he would just feel really, really disappointed. So unfortunately, we won't see that. There's still hope. What do they say? What's the nothing ever dies in Supernatural? It's just waiting to come back in season 8. Let's drink to that. Thank you. Hello.
Hello, I have a very profound question for you.
Gosh, let's hear it.
Okay, I know you're new to this because you're still young. But if you were to be a mixed drink, what would you be and why?
Don't go with the
Well, we were saying today at the cocktail that they should have, in Supernatural, they should have, I think they could have marketed the hell out of that. They, made their own cocktail on the show, everyone would have gotten it. But my drink of choice is, I do like a coffee, shot of espresso, shot of Bailey's Irish cream, and then a shot of whiskey. And you just throw them all in a cup and stir it up. Not with your finger, but with like this. You could do your finger. But yeah, that's like my go-to. But I always said that if anything, I would do like, if I was to describe myself as a cocktail, I feel like an old-fashioned, you know? The singular person who likes whiskey back. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've always felt like I was an old soul. And I don't know. I don't know. I grew up watching my dad drink whiskey, so I think I got into it at a little too young of an age. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. Or just a straight neat whiskey is great too. Not that that's what that is. I don't know if there's like a legal thing.
It's apple juice.
It's apple juice, exactly. Yeah, of course it is. But yeah, that's what I'd say. So, thank you for the question. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Very, very excited. It's my first time here.
Well, welcome.
Wow, thank you. I wanted to know how many episodes of Supernatural have you watched? Or have you? How many seasons?
I have. I was actually just talking to Jeff backstage. I was a huge fan of Supernatural. I grew up watching it, and I saw up until season 12. I think I saw a couple episodes into season 12, but then I thought the show didn't exist anymore. Because like, the show was done like 8 times. Like it stopped, they were like, this is our final season, and then season 13 comes out, then 14 comes out. So I didn't know the show was still going. So in my mind, I'd seen the whole series. But no, I've only seen up till season 12. But yeah, I was a huge fan of it. And so like the opportunity to be a part of the Winchesters, be a part of that family, a part of the Supernatural universe was crazy in itself. But my favorite character was always John. So like, that was such a TED talky stuff.
Why John?
Well, because I always empathize with his heart. Like I was saying earlier, I always thought that he was like I thought he was a good dad. He reminded me a lot of my dad, in the sense that my dad made a lot of, not the same, my dad made mistakes, but they were all like, I have grace for him because he's trying. It's weird as I get older, around my parents' age when they had me, I can't fathom having a kid right now and not fucking them up. So the fact that my parents did as good as they did, I have nothing but grace for them and whatever their mistakes were. So I don't know, I always was drawn to John. I like complex characters. I like anti-heroes. I think he's just kind of that. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
What's in your opinion the best or strongest scene you did in the Winchesters?
I loved all of episode 6. If you haven't seen it, I got to play a bad guy. So I got to play like a possessed version of John, and that was my favorite like acting that I did. I loved getting to play that character. But I think my favorite scene that we filmed was in, I want to say, episode 10 or 11. 10. Or 11. Whatever one, we had like a burial scene. We got to like dig a graveyard in Mariana, and that scene felt like it was from Supernatural. That felt like a Supernatural scene, and everything that we were talking about like forgiveness and what else were we saying in that scene? We said some shit there that was like really meant for. It's Supernatural. But I remember doing that scene, and I looked at Meg, and I was kind of like teary-eyed, and I was like, this was our first graveyard scene, which to me is so iconic to Supernatural. So I just remember feeling like I was there, and I was like, oh, this feels like we're on the set of Supernatural. And then only 3 episodes later, to have Jensen and Bobby, which, yeah, Jim, thank you. Jim, I'm just gonna throw the names out, and then I'll have you say them, because you know better. But to have both of them there was the same kind of experience where I was like, oh, this feels like we're just shooting Supernatural. And they both drop immediately in the character, which Jim is that character in real life. I don't know, y'all probably had the pleasure of meeting him, but Jim. So that was my favorite.
I felt the Vietnam episode was the best, just emotional-wise and everything. I thought it was a very good episode.
Thank you so
The rest
much.
as well.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. And it feels weird to wait for the applause to like then go to the next thing. I'm gonna talk over it. No, the Vietnam stuff though was my all-time favorite stuff. Like doing the season 1. Guys, I'm fine, I promise. No, but doing doing the season 1, episode 1, the opening was like a whole Vietnam scene. That was the first day I'd ever filmed. Jensen was there, and we got to like blow shit up in the woods and run around, and it was fucking awesome. So, yeah, my favorite song. Hi, nice to see you. Oh, yes, I can. That's a very tall mic for you. It's like the WWE.
Exactly. By Sunday, I think I've probably got it right. Okay, first of all, so sorry about Winchesters. We fought and we fought and we fought online. 24 hours a day, tweeting. And when the Americans went to bed, the Europeans started. We would actually sign off and say, okay, it's over to the Australians now. Yeah, and some people even tweeted all the way through the night, so really sorry.
Thank you all for that so much. And there's no need to apologize. That was the one thing that I apparently didn't accomplish well in my Instagram thing. I thought that was a pretty thank you guys, but thank you guys so much. The love that I just feel like most shows don't have that. We got news ahead of time, and so we had to sit on news where we weren't allowed to share it. But seeing the outpour of love when we found out that we were canceled versus when we were able to let you guys know, it was crazy, and it really softened the emotional toll that it would have taken. I think otherwise having had that news, because we just were like, oh, what we did mattered to people. People enjoyed it, and it moved them to tweet 40,000 tweets on the first day. It was something crazy. So we all felt it. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for every bit of your support that we had the entire time of the shows.
So my question is, what's next? I know you said that you like anti-heroes, etc., etc.
Yeah.
They make the best characters, obviously. What kind of role are you looking for now? Not a dream role, but what kind of role would you be interested in?
The next one that pays. No, there's some stuff in the works. Hopefully, by the time I'm back in the States, I'll tweet something out and can share some news. We'll see. I thought they were playing me off. I was like, that's so loud. Ringtone. So that'd be cool. But no, my next character, if I had to choose, I kind of want to play I really do want to play a bad guy. I'd like to just be in a season of something, and then just be the bad guy, and kind of get to fuck stuff up for once. Be a character that people hate. I guess that was what I was doing, so I guess I already did that, so I'll do something else. But yeah, that'd be cool. I would still love, in the future projects, I would love, and I'm sure there's going to be a time, y'all know how big the fan base is, they're going to open Supernatural back up at some point, and I would love to have a tiny slice of that pie. That was a good pun, come on. Pretend like I need to do that. But I'd love to be a part of that, wherever that comes from.
That would be great. Absolutely great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely announce when I'm doing the next thing too, just in case anybody cares. Well, thank you. Sure. No, we'll see. There's a bunch of different avenues. I was just talking to Jensen this morning and about some potential stuff, and hopefully getting to work with him again on something would be really cool. So, let's see. Those guys tend to work, you know. Especially him. Dude, fucking Soldier Boy. Come on. Fucking Soldier Baby. Yeah. Just planting that seed now. Hello. I feel like you could have just done it from here.
Just raise my hand. So the camera's doing some interesting things with your face. Like really bright lipstick, but you're
I thought that was just my face. Is that what it looks like?
Yes.
So it got me thinking, if you were to do drag, would you have what would your drag name be?
What would my
I
drag
have a
name?
suggestion.
Yes, please.
Winchester.
Wayne Chester.
Or Winnie Chester.
Winchester. I like that. All right. Well, if I do drag, I will use the name Winchester. Follow me on social media. That's so funny. I actually had the pleasure of going to my first drag show in New Orleans, and what an experience that was. Especially because I didn't know that that's what I was going to do.
Oh.
So it was quite an experience. Really cool. Fucked with it. So who knows? Maybe that'll be the next character.
Yeah.
But this stuff like gets to your stomach. Oh my! It's like gasoline. But yeah, you all had a chance to explore, like run around Rome. No, I mean, yeah, it's pretty go. Hi.
Hi, my name is Beth. I thought Winchesters was great and I loved your character.
Oh, thank you.
I was just wondering whether you'd spoken to Jeffrey Dean Morgan and or Matt Cohen before doing the role?
So I actually met Matt for the first time here in February, at the last Jib 11.
Yes.
It's weird, we're Jib 11, 13. Well, it was a couple years ago. No, I met Matt here, so I never got to speak with him until after the show. But I wish I had because he's a fucking cool guy. And he invited me to his place in Joshua Tree. I don't know why I felt the need to tell you guys that. You all want to come? And then I did get to meet Jeffrey at the end of Comic-Con. I got to go, in my mind, like an all-star dinner was I got to sit across from him and Jensen and just have like a meal. And their wives were there, their kids were there, and Meg was there. And we just got to talk to them for like 4 hours, shoot the shit. And he was so sweet. He gave like really, really sweet advice. Because I know that he had a hard time. Obviously, people didn't love his interpretation of John, but he served a purpose, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And his advice to me was just to have fun. He's like, I really don't. It's like I know you're not gonna fuck the character up. He's like, I know that also is based on the writing. But he was like, he's like, to me, what's most important is that you just have fun with the process. He's like, none of this is worth doing if you take it too serious. And I really appreciated that because I was already feeling an immense level of pressure. We had just seen episode 1. I had no idea how everybody felt about it. We saw it at Comic-Con for the first time with 6,000 other people. So we were still processing it, and then to like be there with him, who, you know. So yeah, he was just super kind, and it really like kind of calmed me down. Not that I needed that anyway, because you guys were fucking awesome and super supportive. Yeah, he was a super cool guy. So I really liked getting to know him. And I wish and hope I could do more of that. Maybe on his new show. Maybe I should tweet it. Maybe I'll text him. Thank you. I think we still have like 30 minutes. This stuff is pretty hard. We're in for it, Joe. But hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Doing better.
You were saying that of the filming in New Orleans, and New Orleans is a place I'd love to go to. It's on my bucket list. Hopefully I'll make it at some point. But is there any particular areas or places in New Orleans that you went to as part of the show that you're like, oh, this is amazing, this is like I know there's like graveyard scenes and just various different scenes like that. So is there any spots that you would recommend people to go to?
Yeah, so I don't know how accessible. When you're filming, the coolest part is that you get to go to like all these locations that are normally off limits for like the general public. But definitely go see an above ground graveyard. Super cool, really creepy. And outside of that, when we shot the last scene with the Lugaroo in episode 1, we shot an actual like Civil War bunker that like is sinking into the ground. So it's like submerged in mud like halfway. So all that was it wasn't like a set, it was a real location. And you can, I think, go visit that. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure you can. Bring bug spray though, because it's like, it's back in the swamp and it's not great, not great. But outside of that, I would say you gotta go see like, if any of you were ever in New Orleans, it's like right there. But definitely go to like the Garden District is beautiful and it's less like populated than the Garden District. So highly would recommend that. Yeah. Thank you. I can't stop looking. My tongue is really big too. Oh, and it's spraying out my pimple. That's great. That's really nice. Wow. I'm going to wear some foundation tomorrow.
Hi.
Hi.
There's a lot right there.
Yeah, welcome to my life. Don't shy away from it. So like angle that more on her face.
Yeah.
Strobe it, blast it.
Well, I think you're there. So I had a question. I remember Jensen telling that he had to prepare and train for a lot of scenes, like practicing with knife throwing in his, I don't know what it's called, but where he sleeps and stuff.
Yeah.
So how did you prepare, other than the conversations with Jeffrey Dean?
So a lot of preparation, actually when Jensen was there, he was really helpful. We went drinking a lot. Really trying to understand the mind of an alcoholic. We really achieved that one. No, we did. I actually worked really well. I worked a lot with the Stunt team in New Orleans. We trained with a bunch of stuff for future seasons too, like a bunch of different weaponry that we were hoping to get to use. But yeah, essentially we would work 12 to 14 hour days, and right after I'd go train for an hour and a half. Like every single day of filming, just because it's also fun. And I'm not at home, or I'm not like in my hometown, so I don't have any friends there. So I was like, what else am I gonna do? I'm making it sound terrible. We're in New Orleans. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, so we trained like a lot with swords, with knives, and we went shooting a couple times. So that was fun. Wasn't really for training, but just fun. So yeah, that's it. I would love to have done more though, and more wire work and stuff like that. We did get to do that, like strapped up to something, have 3 people jump off of a ladder and yank you through the air. Yeah, my character gets thrown around a lot, so I did a lot of that. I didn't do any of that. My stunt double did. Poor guy. They launched him through the air. He bought this thing. It's like a little air ramp. And so if you ever watch episode 10 or 11, there's like a scene where there's a giant clay monster, a golem, beat you all to it, and he like launches me through the air, and that's an air ramp. And so essentially what he does is there's like a big square that he steps on, and it just like spring loads him through the air, and we had to do like 4 or 5 takes of that. And that poor dude was just getting like sent into a wall over and over. I'll post a video of the first one that I think we ended up using that. Using the first take, but it was fun as hell to watch him get like launched into the wall. Happy I didn't have to do that. I don't know what your training is for that. He landed on his head like 4 times. What is the training for that? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's very sibling.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Is it like an obligation to applause? Like, do you guys feel like you have to do it after that?
Yeah. Now we do.
Yeah.
No.
Hello. I put it out to the Twitter world. Any questions for Drake? Any questions for Drake? There's big questions for Drake. And I've had a question, so I'd like to ask it on behalf of the Twitter world, if that's okay. So somebody asked, did you go back and watch the Henry Winchesters supernatural episode before you had your scene with Gil? To know if it was, because apparently it's the best scene of the Winchesters' best episode, and they really loved it, and they wondered whether you did any prep before you had your Henry Winchester scene.
I did actually. The entire time we filmed, most nights, you walked out of the light, now I can't see it, it's too bright, thank you. Most nights I would go home and I would watch an episode of Supernatural, just to like, try to keep my mindset of it. And I did. I ended up, before that scene, I went back and I watched, I think 2 or 3 episodes of Gil. If there is that many. No, I went back and I definitely watched that episode because we brought the prop in and I didn't remember the little like music box. I didn't remember what that was. And so I was like, I should probably go back and watch that. But I did. And I loved it. I loved seeing Gil on there. He's so fucking great. And I think most of you might have a chance to meet him. Really charismatic guy, really funny, incredibly sexual, but good guy. But yeah, so I did have a chance to meet him. And then I talked to him about it for a while too, which is cool. It was really cool to like work with a lot of the alum. Is that weird to call them that? The alum? The alumni? The old timers? Like getting to work with Ruth and everybody. It's cool.
Yeah,
It's
they
cool.
thought it was an amazing, they loved that interaction between you guys and it was almost like it was natural. So that's why I think they thought that you had done a lot of prep work for it because it was a beautiful scene between you two. So thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'll pretend like it was more than it was. Also. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I was the dame.
Oh, perfect. I'm not very spitful. I have no idea what's going on.
Okay, my question is, what do you think when you finish the first row of casting for the Winchester?
One more time.
What do you think when you finish your first round of casting for the Winchester? Do you think it was good, bad?
I didn't.
Look back.
Yeah. I didn't know. The question was, what did I think when I finished my first round of the Winchesters? Of casting for the Winchesters.
Yes.
And I didn't know actually. When I got the script, like I said, I was a fan. I thought the show was gonna be crap. I got the pilot across my table and I was like, all right, these guys are just trying to like money grab a really great show. And then I read it and I really, really loved it. But I was like, I'm gonna just do what I want to do. Like, I'm not gonna play the John Winchester that's kind of there. I was like, I kind of want to make him fun and not a dick. So I just kind of went with it. So I genuinely sent it off and was like, there's no way they're ever gonna go for like that version of John. Like, it's not similar to Jeffrey Dean really in any way. And then once I got the call back, they said that they liked the humor. So I was like, oh, cool. Let me just like continue to lean into that. And then to find Mary, I didn't know that I was cast at this point, but to find Mary, you do these things called chemistry reads, which is essentially, I would read across from you if you were auditioning for Mary, and we would just see like what kind of chemistry that we have. I did 27 of those reads. Each read was an hour long. So I did 27 hours of chemistry reads with different versions of Mary Winchester. That was exhausting. And I think somewhere along like the 10-hour point, I was like, these guys are just fucking with me. Fuck these guys, I'm not doing this. And so I just had a really, really great time with it. Funny enough, mentioning alcohol, I don't think I've shared this story. I don't know if I should share the story, but I'm going to.
You did, yes. Oh, we did.
So in one of my chemistry reads, we did everything over Zoom. So there's a Zoom room, and in that Zoom was our director of the first episode, Glenn, the cast director, Robert, then it was Jensen Daniil, Robbie Thompson, and I want to say that's it. And then some network people are also there, studio people are also there. And everybody has like their camera muted. So it's like you just sitting there, and it's like, if you've ever seen like Deal or No Deal, it's like the guy in the black box kind of thing, where like a voice comes out, you have no idea who's talking. And I'm on probably hour 10 of these, day 3 or 4, and I had, the night before, I did this 3 hours of chemistry reads. I was so tired, I was in bed at like 9 or 10, and then at like 12, right before I went to bed, I got an email from casting. They're like, hey, can you wake up at like 7 and do another round for people? And I was like, yeah, of course. I'm not gonna say no. I need money. Of course, I'll do that. And so I wake up and I'm like dead. I have bags under my eyes, the whole nine, and I had like no energy to do this scene. So I was like, well, I have to be flirtatious, so I just have to be like a little loose. Why not just start drinking? So I did, and I went to my fridge, I grabbed, I had 2 Modelo's, and I just brought them in. I was like, I'm not gonna get drunk, I'm just here to like, loosen up a little bit. And so I just had them off to the side, and we do the first girl comes on, we read, and then when they're talking to her, I can't dodge it, but I basically just would like crouch off screen, and I would like sip my beer, and then pop back on, so they wouldn't know. And everything was going great, awesome. And then all of a sudden, I think it was the second or the third girl that we were reading with, just in the camera, I was standing for my audition, and just in the camera, I totally, like in my head, thought I grabbed my water, but I had the Modelo, and I took it, and I just started like, they're giving her notes, and I'm just like, and then I look, and I see myself in the reflection, holding the Modelo, and it didn't register for a couple of seconds, so I'm just like looking at it, and then I literally went, spit my drink everywhere. I ran off to the side of the Zoom so they couldn't see me, and I was just like feeling my heart was like pounding, and I was like, these producers, these people from Warner Brothers, and the casting director, all think I'm an alcoholic. It's 8 in the morning, I'm drinking, and my heart's pounding. And I'm like, I just lost my fucking job, I'm gonna be labeled as an alcoholic, like all the thoughts are running through my head. Anyway, we get done with the last chemistry read, and they're like, hey Drake, can you wait in the waiting room for a little bit? Which happens. I was like, yeah, of course. I go downstairs to where my managers are, and I was like, I kind of like, I sat in the chair, but I didn't sit like this because I wasn't cool at the time, I was really ashamed. And I just sat down and I was like, Peter, my manager, I might have just fucked up. And he asked what happened, and I was like, well, I don't know if they saw it or not, but I spit in the camera, so I assumed they did. And I was like, I was drinking, like, on the call, and his face, like, went white, and he was trying not to get really mad. Because that is a big no-no. It could go really wrong. Luckily, we're dealing with the actors, so. So anyway, I hear the Zoom pop back on in the other room, and usually they text you first. So I sprinted in the other room, hop back on the Zoom with everybody there, and and Daniil's the one who pops on. And she's like, hey, so just wanted to ask you one, like, thank you for, first of all, 12 hours of Zoom, blah, blah, blah. I was like, of course. She's like, we have one other question for you. And I thought I got away with it at this point because they hadn't said anything. And she's like, yeah, what were you drinking? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, did you drink were you like drinking beer? And I was like, nope. Not this guy. Come on. 8 in the morning, you fucking crazy? Come on. And then I was like, oh, this? And I pulled it up and I was like, oh yeah. And she's like, what brand is that? And I was like, Modelo. She's like, okay. And then I was like, oh my god, guys, I'm sorry. Like, and I was starting to explain the situation, and Denise was like, shh, 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 shh. And then she literally just goes like I can't see. I'll pull it out of frame. And she just goes, shh, 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 shh. And she's holding like a bottle of wine. And then all of a sudden, I kid you not, Glenn, Jensen, and Robbie all pop on. They all have wine or beer. It's fucking 8 in the morning. I was like, I'm at home. I talked to Jensen about it after I got cast, and he's like, that's my dude. That's my new hero, got it. And I was like, fucking 12 hours of screen test later, thanks, bud. But then that became like the ongoing joke. So like on set, when Jensen and Daniil were there, they would bring like a case of Modelo and leave it in my trailer all the time. Some of my best acting after that came out. But yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
True story. I'm actually curious, by the way. I was about to say, if any of you are going to Jensen's panel, any of you happen to wind up at that Wizards camp, no, ask him what his version of that story is, because I'm curious if he remembers that. I know he remembers that, but I'm curious if, like, what his, so of course he remembers that. I'm fronting, I'm not that cocky.
Who were the first people you wrote the news to that you got casted, and how did they react to it?
The first people that I broke the news to was, I was with my roommate. It was my best friend, his name is Braden. Shout out to Braden. And I actually got a call right before I was about to head into my 7th round of chemistry reads out of 9. And each round was 3. That's where I came up with the 27 number. And I got a call from him before the reads began, and my whole team was there, all my agents, my managers, and they were like, "Hey, you got a second?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "All right, put us, we're gonna put all my agents on the call." And I was just like, "Fuck!" Like, it's before the read. I was like, they probably just called my team and were like, "Hey, we don't need him to come anymore. He's done. We're gonna go the other direction." Because at the time, through 7 rounds, there was one other guy that I was up against all the time. And I had gotten into my head and got super insecure about the whole process, as you do. And I was just like, oh, they're using me to warm the girls up. To just get some practice and get comfortable in the room, and then they're sending them to this other guy. They're sending them to this other guy to get, the good performances out of it.
So
and that's what I convinced myself out. That was the fluffer. I literally said that. I didn't want to say that here. I realize I'm amongst friends now. Yes, I thought I was the fluffer. And I convinced myself of that.
Drake Roger, Drake Roger, Drake Roger.
I'm sorry, I said fluffer.
Drake Roger, this is God. It's time to get off the stage to make way for the other goddess. No, seriously, get off the stage.
Thank you all so much, I appreciate it.
Give it up for Drake, y'all. Oh my god, I forgot about the wheel. I totally forgot about the wheel, damn it. Oh, I'm nervous now. Should I just start with that? Because last time I started with the wheel. I'll just start off, I'll keep with the tradition. First of all, how's everyone doing? Doing good, doing good. I'm so glad. Fantastic, let's do it. All right, here we go. Oh, I'm scared. All right, here we go. It was the exact same 1-2 as last time. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna ask one more time and I would love to hear the loudest response ever. How are we doing? Thank you, you delivered beautifully. Oh my gosh. Wait, is there apple juice on stage?
Yep.
Excuse me, one moment.
Drink it all.
Talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Oh wait, it's
Drake.
Aww. Yeah, what is this? Is this?
I don't know.
Julie, hello. I'm gonna go get some photos while we're doing this.
Cheers, everyone. Fantastic. Oh, this is also the same music that played last time. And I'm gonna actually do the Spanish cheers because for those of you that don't know, I am Cuban. So I'm just gonna say it. And if you know it, feel free to say it. Arriba, abajo, al centro, pa' dentro. I will not take that like a shot. That's very strong stuff. Oh my gosh, amazing. Oh, thank you all for being here. Oh, there's so many people. So many people. Thank you all for being here today. It means the world. I'm Jojo. Lovely to meet you. Fantastic. Thank you all. And let's just get to it. I'm happy to answer some questions. Please feel free to come up, ask anything you want. Nothing is off limits, within reason. Well, fantastic. I'll just start with you over here in the spotlight. Hi.
I'm happy that you said that because I've got quite a gossipy question.
Okay.
I wanted to ask to Drake before, but you were right, so I'm going to ask you.
Oh gosh, okay.
I would have asked him how was it to find love on set. So I will ask you how was it to work with people that found love on set?
How was it to work with people that found love on set? Huh. You know, I am a huge advocate for love. So if anyone was finding love on set, I was like, yay, go for it. If it makes you happy and you're happy being in love and doing things with love and for love, I'm all about it because I lead with love. I lead with my heart, especially this Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. I'm an advocate for love and pride and wearing your heart on your sleeve. So if that's what you want to do and you want to spread that love and it's healthy and it's good and everyone's on the same page about it, I say absolutely. I celebrate it and respect it also at the same time. Respect all parts of it. So yeah, that's how I see love on set.
Thanks. You were quite conservative.
Say again?
No, you were conservative in your answer.
I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you, so nice to meet you. Thank you. Amazing. Hi.
Hi Jojo, lovely to see you. I just wanted to say, great to see you all last season, and I'm wondering what plans there are for Jojo in the next year or two. Is there anything that you're allowed to tell us about?
There are definitely some things in the works that I'm not... some things I can talk about, some things I cannot talk about, but let's just say this won't be the last time you see my face. Working on some stuff at the moment. You know, with everything that's kind of going on in the industry, there's a bit of a hold at the moment because of, as we know, the writer's strike that's going on, and we support our writers and we support that they get a fair deal, and at least that's what I believe, and we also support like our writers like Robbie Thompson, who is also part of the fight, and I am supporting him all the way through. So for the meantime, at the moment, I'm currently working on my own stuff. Some of them, the things that I'm working on are like covers of songs that you know and love, but I actually have a cover of a song coming out in the next couple of months. So yeah, so keep a lookout for that. I'm also partnering soon with some charities, specifically LGBTQIA+ charities, to raise money and awareness for them. And that's also going to be part of some music that I have going on. There's one other thing, but it's not, I want to say it, but I want to keep it a surprise, so I'm going to keep it a surprise, but let's just say it'll be something exciting and cool that you could, that I'm working on, that you could potentially have like in your home or something, or you can take with you, or you can buy. So some cool things in that regard. Yeah, and that's pretty much that. My birthday's coming up, so that'll be exciting. July. Any Leos in the audience? I see one hand. What's up? Fire. What's up? High five to you. Fantastic. And yeah, some stuff like that. And then anything else, unfortunately, I cannot speak on. But you'll be seeing some stuff from me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good one. Hello. Good to see you.
See you. Okay, so I had a question for Drake, and I was going to ask you the same one, but I've actually decided to put a spin on this question. So what I had asked him was, if you were to describe yourself as a mixed drink, what would it be, and why? But I'm not going to give you that one. I have a better one. Okay. So most of us know, and you mentioned in the fact that you are musically inclined. So if you were to pick a theme song, musical, not TV, musical theater, what would be your personal theme song and why?
Oh God. My personal theme song, and it has to be musical theater.
Scanning.
You know, okay, this is my initial response, and this is so dramatic, but it shouldn't, I don't know if it is the theme song. You know what, okay, can I give you two answers? Okay, because this is technically, it's in a musical. It's not originally from a musical. It was, you know how sometimes how they do like, musicals, but they take songs from like bands and stuff, like, so like Mamma Mia. You know how they did Mamma Mia with ABBA music? So, technically it's ABBA, but it's in a musical, so I'm gonna say, if I had to choose a theme song like that came off the top of my head that was in a musical, it is Don't Stop Me Now from We Will Rock You, the musical Queen. So I would use that. I would say Don't Stop Me Now because that is kind of like my energy at the moment, I would say. And then if I had to choose another, like a traditional musical theater song, the first thing that comes to my mind for some reason is Being Alive from Company. Beautiful song, beautiful song. It's just about love and owning yourself and owning that you deserve love in all ways and all facets, and you should embrace it in its hurt and in its goodness and everything. And like I said, I'm a huge advocate for love, and I think it's very important. So I think that's what that would be, which is hilarious because the character is like in it, like the character is in his or hers. The character can alternate between a man or a woman or whoever wants to play it. The character's like in their late 30s going through a crisis of like not being married yet, so I'm not near that. But there's something about the lyrics and everything. Stephen Sondheim is incredible. So I really like that. Those are my answers. Yeah, thanks. Good to see you. I love the switch of the outfit, by the way. I saw you earlier, and now I love this look.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Lovely to see you. Bye.
So, in episode 2, the hotel room scene where you're all dancing around, that was actually so much fun. So I was wondering what that was like to shoot.
Yeah. So we hadn't really like planned out that scene or rehearsed the scene or anything. We literally were just kind of thrown into this built-up hotel room, little motel room, and we were still. That was literally the first. That was the first episode we filmed coming back to filming, you know, the season. So I remember I went out there and I was still nervous because I was still getting to know a lot of the crew. I was still like even getting to know my castmates. Like I had my time with Drake and Nita and Meg on the pilot and everybody else on the pilot. But you know, still, it's just one episode you filmed and here we are like hitting the ground running and filming this show, and automatically my first big thing is coming in and singing Aquarius to a bunch of strangers, which is hilarious. But yeah, we were directed by John Showalter, one of our producers, but he also, of course, directs, and he's wonderful. He directed episode 2, I think, along with episode. I can't remember. There was maybe a middle episode in there, but he also directed episode 13, the final episode with Jensen and with everyone involved. It was amazing. And he just said, he kind of was just like, imagine like you're in a music video and just like have a blast and roll all over the place. Nothing is too much. Specifically, funny story, Drake, they didn't use this footage and I'm so sad they didn't, but Drake specifically told me because, again, none of it was planned. I was pulling at Nida, I was pulling at Meg, dancing with all of them, and just like messing with them, changing it up every single take. And Drake is sitting on the desk and is just like, for the love of God, like whispers to me, like brings me in, he's just like, Jojo, come here. For the love of God, do not pull me up to dance. Just please, whatever you do, do not make me dance. And so they told me, okay, you're gonna do the last take, Jojo, this is the final take, and we're gonna go very music video with it. And I said, got it. And that was when I went to Showalter and I said, hey, I'm gonna change it up. I'm going to, instead of pulling up Meg to dance, I'm gonna go to Drake. Because I was just like, I wanna see what that would do, and I kind of wanted to poke at Drake a little bit and have a little bit of fun and loosen him up, because he always says that he can't dance, but he has some moves. So, yeah, in the midst of doing Aquarius, I just like as I'm doing the movements and stuff, Drake not expecting anything, he's just chilling. All of a sudden I lock eyes with him, and he just looks at me and he's just like, no. And I just like sidle up to him. I'm literally just like coming like over this way to him, and I just grab him by the arms and pull him up and pull him in for a nice little slow dance with my head resting on his chest. And it was beyond hilarious, and afterwards he was so upset. He was so mad. And I think he literally went up to John Showalter afterwards and was like, don't use any of that. Do not use that footage. And I just said I just wanted to do it for fun. But that was a fun time. It was just silliness and fun stuff. That was really all it was. It was great.
It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. Thank you. Amazing. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. You?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
First of all, I want to tell you that since the first time I saw you on screen, I have felt like you were a very beautiful person inside out. So thank you for portraying a character that is so representative, and thank you for being you.
Oh, thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Means a lot. Thank you.
Second of all, on the base of this, and also on the base of the thing that you said, a pure theme song would be Don't Stop Me Now. We know that the Winchesters has been put to a side for a moment. As Drake said before, nothing stays dead in Supernatural, so we will see. But just trying to make a leap of imagination, if 17 would have had an uncle like Carlos, how would their upbringing be, and what values do you think Carlos would have given to them?
It's a very good question. If Carlos would have brought them some sort of values, I think something that Sam and Dean could have used a lot more of in their life was someone that could have shown them. I feel like what Carlos does so well that I love is that he shows a lot while he has a hard exterior, and while he can be very like a little aloof and kind of like go away, don't bother me kind of energy sometimes. He also has a big heart for the people that he loves, and he's a real empath. And I think he could have shown Sam and Dean growing up empathy, compassion, and love. I feel like growing up that was very hard for the boys to come by. They kind of found that within each other, which I'm grateful that they did, watching their characters kind of find that love with each other. But if they would have had a role model like Carlos or someone, I think they could have had just that nice touch of like mindfulness and empathy and care. I think that could have been a good influence. I think Carlos would have been that. Carlos definitely could have cultured them to the LGBTQIA+ scene and everything, and had got to introduce them to some of that, and help them open their minds more to inclusivity and openness in that way as well. I'd like to think that could have been the thing that Carlos could have done to help them, and could have assisted them in that way. Also probably could have taught Sam how to do the holy water hair flip. Because Sam's got the hair, so. Yeah, it's amazing. Jared and I have talked about that actually. Jared's been like, we gotta get that. We gotta do that someday. We gotta like both of us do like a holy water hair flip situation. So tweet it. We'll get it going. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Fantastic. Hi.
This is perfect timing because I was just about to ask about the hair flip. I wanted to know whose idea that was because it's so iconic and it should have been done more than once.
Okay. Well, whose idea was it? So the fun fact about that was it was actually totally a joke. I was talking to Robbie Thompson, our writer, via Zoom one day, and we were having a meeting about Carlos and what his journey was going to be like for the later part of the season. And I just was talking about like, oh, I really want Carlos to have like a really great epic fight scene. Like I really want just like something like that to come up. And basically, I kind of mentioned this idea. I think Robbie said, oh, we're going to have vampires coming up in episode 9. I'm like, how killer and hilarious would it be if I doused, if I had a natural weapon on my own body, what could I use? And obviously Carlos would use his hair. So I was just like, what if Carlos like doused his hair in holy water and like whipped it and did all this stuff? And you know, Robbie was like laughing. He was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, ha 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 ha, like great, like done. And then literally thinking like it's done, it's not really a thing. Then 2 weeks later I get a script and fully it just says Carlos jumps out of van, Lata opens canteen, douses hair in holy water, and I'm like, oh, we're doing this. We're fully doing this. And so the producers read that and everything and they approved it, but then they kind of came up to me after I went up to them and I was like, oh, we're gonna do it, like it's gonna be really exciting. And they were just like, I don't know, you know, it's kind of like, it might be a bit much, and like, you know, is it really gonna work? Is it gonna like come across right? And I was like, watch me. And so I literally showed up and I went to the stunt team and everything and I was like, we need to like get this right and we need to like really sell it and make it like good. And so we worked with the stunt team, we choreographed the whole thing, showed up to set that night. While we were filming it that night and we were dousing my hair, I think it was like 50 degrees outside, very chilly, very cold, and being soaked and just like whipping my hair like over and over for takes, probably cracked something in my neck. I don't know what I did, but I definitely was feeling neck pain the next day, on top of having to do a full backward bend multiple times. But it came out really good, I think, and I'm very, very happy with it. I'm very happy that people like it and people have taken to it very well. It was a lot of fun to do, and I'm very, very grateful that I got to create that really cool thing. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I'm actually just curious, how many, well, first of all, on the count of 3, I want everyone to scream where they're from. 1, 2, 3. I love it there. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, sick, amazing. Oh my gosh, incredible. And this is like, there's so many people here that have been to so many jibs, yes? Is there anyone who's having their first jib? Raise your hands, please. Yes, oh my gosh, there's so many of you. Welcome, welcome. Yes, look at all of these hands. A round of applause for these hands. Kick ass. Welcome, welcome. So happy to have you all here. This is incredible. Oh my gosh, oh my god, all of you, huh?
Happy to be here.
Oh, we're happy to have you here. And all of you look so beautiful, by the way. I just got to see everyone's faces. It's hard to see with all the lights, but y'all look amazing, truly. Fantastic. Hi. How you doing?
I'm fine, you?
Good, well, thank you so much.
So as it's Pride Month, my question is about Pride Parade. So do you remember the first one you've been to and your emotions at the moment during this Pride Parade?
So Pride Parade's in my first one?
Yes.
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna be very honest with you. My first Pride Parade, honestly, was not until last year. Yeah, I felt like, I don't know, I get very overwhelmed in like big events kind of situations usually, especially like parades in general. It's not even just Pride parades, but like parades I get like a little like flustered because there's a lot going on, there's a lot of screaming, there's a lot of people, even like for instance, LGBTQ like club scene, like I'm very like, oh my god, there's so many people, it's very claustrophobic, so I always kind of didn't go out to the parades because of just how overwhelming they could be sometimes. Not because I didn't want to celebrate. It was just I celebrated with like my community of friends, and we would go out to like smaller events, and I was very content with that. But last year, my friends convinced me to come out, and I was really really excited. And I thought this is my time to do this. And I live in New York City, and I haven't even been to a New York City Pride parade, so I need to get to it. So I went to the Pride parade last year, and it was so unbelievably beautiful. So much celebrating, so much joy. I felt so many things. I felt so much good, so much love, so much, and in a word, interestingly enough, a little bit of pain. You feel everything. You feel everything when it comes to that experience. You feel all the good and the bad because you know the history that it's come from. It's been a very rocky but beautiful and gratifying road to get to where we are now. And for those, in in some of those older generations before us, it's because of them that we are able to celebrate so beautifully now. And I think that's what I was resonating with and I was thinking about when I was looking at everyone, was just seeing that before all of this, before this beautiful celebration, we were, witnessing in history, things like this not being so celebrated or not happening or not being as great because it was surrounded by a lot more judgment versus acceptance. And now, because of that generation, because of the fight, and because of the hard work, we are now celebrating so beautifully. So it was so many beautiful mixed feelings, and I was just so grateful and honored to be there and also to be a member of the community and to be celebrating. And I'm still very proud to be a non-binary identifying human and a member of this community. And I, because of it, celebrate my pride all year round. It's not just June, especially June, but I celebrate it all year round, and it means a lot to me. So yeah.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Hey. How you doing?
A little bit nervous, but it's okay.
No, don't be nervous. It's okay.
Really glad that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you.
We already know that you are a fan of Freddie Mercury, which I appreciate very much. I raised my daughter into a huge Queen fan, which turned out very well.
Take notes for parenting, y'all.
When we watched the movie Bohemian Rhapsody together, she couldn't stop crying 30 minutes after the movie ended because it was so real to her that Freddie had to die. And I couldn't look at her because every time I looked at her, I started crying too. It was terrible. Did you watch the movie too?
I did, yes.
Okay, and my question is, what was your response about the scenes when it got real for him, that he is sick and he told his bandmates, and what would you ask Freddie Mercury if you could meet him now?
Oh my gosh. Well, my reaction to seeing those scenes was how inspiring he was, that he didn't let his sickness or what the media said about that sickness at the time, that the disease at the time and his existence, he never allowed himself to be a victim to it. He also never allowed himself to be, he never allowed other people's judgments and other people's feelings of that matter or of anything affect him. He was just screw all the noise that's out there in the world. I'm going to continue to make music, and I'm going to continue to make people happy because there are people out there that are listening to me and are loving me for who I am and celebrating me. So that's who I'm going to perform for. And that's kind of what I took with me when it came to doing Carlos and also making any art that I have. As a queer person in this life, I am aware that there are maybe sometimes people in this fandom that are not maybe the most accepting to Carlos. Not everyone. Everyone here, of course, is so lovely and so wonderful, and the majority is very positive. But then there's also those people that don't really support the community and also kind of look at me with judgment, but all of that, like I said, is just noise, and I'm performing for the people, and I am celebrating my existence for those that see themselves in me and are inspired by my story. So taking that from that film and seeing him own his space and own his himself just entirely is what made that moment and that film so special, and what made Freddie so special, and that's why I look up to him so much. A true trailblazer, like really, like major trailblazer. And if I had to ask him anything, I mean, it's kind of, I have a feeling I might know what the answer for this is, but I think the first thing that kind of comes to my mind is what motivates you / what keeps you going when the days get hard. Because sometimes as a person, as myself, I find that I have really hard days, especially when I am trying to pave the way for others that are like me, and I'm taking that platform very seriously. So I would probably ask him, like, you know, when you have those days where you don't feel as strong, like, what do you do? Like, what do you go for? Like, who are your motivators, and what motivates you? What helps you? What gets you through? I would probably ask him that. Yeah, I think that's honestly what I would ask him. He's truly fantastic, though, and he's inspired me and has paved such a beautiful way for myself and for others like me, because it's because of, like I said, older generations plus people like Freddie that I can proudly walk into my space and I can come onto a stage and I can own who I am in front of a crowd of people, when back then it was very shut down or shied upon. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So talking about like queer media, me and my flatmate are always trying to find stuff with good inclusivity and stuff. And some of our favourites are TV shows like Pose or Our Flag Means Death. I don't know if you've seen either of those.
I've seen Yes Pose, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Our Flag Means Death is amazing as well. I think you should watch it genuinely. I was just wondering if you had any sort of recommendations of like TV shows or films that you really love that have like really good inclusivity or like just important queer representation.
Yes, I'm currently obsessed with Heartstopper.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, my heart just leaps at Heartstopper. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Trying to think of anything else that has that beautiful representation in it. But you say again? Young Royals, yes. I haven't seen Young Royals yet.
A little bit of it.
Young Royals as well. Thank you for the recommendation. Because to be completely transparent with you all, I'm horrible. I don't really watch a lot of TV. Unfortunately, I like to read a lot of books, and I like to, if anything, fall down rabbit holes of like internet and such, and read articles. But right now, like I said, I'm very into Heartstopper. I think that's a beautiful show. I'm trying to think if there's any other thing. Young Royals, thank you for that recommendation. Yeah, I mean, I thought that's definitely one I can recommend, Heartstopper at the moment. I think that's really, really wonderful. I also really recommend this show called The Winchesters. There's this character named John Winchester. I'm just kidding. There's this character named Carlos Cervantes. I think he's okay. Maybe it's something to look into. Yeah. Thank you so. What's your name?
My name's Solitaire.
Say again?
Solitaire.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate it. Awesome. Woo! Oh my goodness, y'all, the jet lag is hitting. The jet lag is hitting, and guess what's helping? Cheers to you all. Oh my goodness. Okay, what can we talk about? What else can we discuss while I'm on this stage? Anything that anyone specifically wants to know about any episode, anything about Jensen, anything about Jeremy, anything about, I got all the tea. What do you want to know? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, they're great. No, none of them have a bad bone in their body. They're all wonderful. Filming that show is such a fun time. Thank you so much, God. Thank you, someone came up. Yes, hi.
Hi. I just have a question. Because you have this great curly hair, what do you do to tame it? So, because every morning I have a problem, I sleep in a bonnet, but every morning I wake up and everything is just like frizzy. What do you do? Do you do a special hair oil or something?
She can't be tamed, that's all I have to say. Yes, I do. I do use some hair products. I use some today. I try my best to tame it as much as I can, but with humidity and everything, it will go crazy. The hair team on my show was so wonderful. They always never let it get any sort of frizzy at all, and the hair treatment they gave me was incredible. I don't use as much hair treatment as they did on that show because they had I think 5 different products going on in my hair while we were filming. But the main products that I use are, I use just like any normal shampoo and conditioner. I use Nexus, just regular, super easy. You can buy it at any pharmacy, any drugstore, super good. And the same thing, the 2 products that I use you can get at any drugstore. I use the Marc Anthony curly hair styling foam and the hair lotion. Good stuff, really, really good stuff. I put the hair lotion in, run it through, styling foam after, and just let it air dry naturally on its own. And that's pretty much what does it. And then if I ever need to touch up, it'll just be with a little water spritz, and then a little bit more styling foam or something if I need to calm it down. And sleeping with a silk bonnet. Gotta protect it at all costs, because when I used to not sleep with the bonnet, and then my hair team over at Winchesters, because obviously I can't wash my hair and correct it every single day, to preserve the curls and to keep it from frizzing, they told me to get a silk bonnet and to apply products again and again, so that I would only wash it maybe twice a week, usually. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Clap for hair products. Hi, how are you?
I'm short. That was good. Yeah, sorry, me again. I was wondering, don't want to put you on the spot, but how much of the original Supernatural have you seen? And how much inspiration have you taken from it?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, Meg and I have a very similar way of how we were introduced to Supernatural. I always knew of Supernatural growing up, but I never watched it because I'm a scaredy cat. And funny enough, I don't like scary movies. I struggle a lot with scary movies sometimes. But my main influence, honestly, is thanks to all of you, because I learned a lot about the show and saw a lot of episodes from the show from the fandom. Because the fandom, as soon as I was cast, automatically, without me asking or anything like that, was just so generous with the amount of insight that they had, what episodes I should watch. I ended up actually finding that one episode where Jared is literally on the phone and goes, "Got it. Great. Thanks, Carlos." Boom. That's the extent of what my character existed in Supernatural. I've watched, there's many, many wonderful episodes that I've watched. Oh! Got it. We will rock you. We will rock you. You big disgrace. Singing, we will rock you. We will rock you. Sing it. We will rock you. On the walls all day, you got blood on your face. The big disgrace. We just met for the first time today.
Isn't he amazing? We can have a great time.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all for listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll be seeing you all around. Bye.
Bye. I thought we were going to be on stage together here.
Oh, no. Take the stage, man.
Thank you, thank you. It's kind of an abrupt. Hi, everybody. Everybody having a good time? Aren't they incredible? Yeah, I just met both the Winchester boys for the first time. And, well, great young guys, right? Okay. How's everybody doing? Good? I feel like it's been a while, but, you know, what was it? August? September?
Yes.
Mixing up August and September for some reason. Very excited. I just talked to my friends on FaceTime. They're on tour together. They're having a great time. I'm having a great time. We're all having a great time. Life seems to be back like it should be. Everybody having a good time. What I forget. What do we do here? Where do we spin the wheel? We start just talking about anything.
Whatever you want.
Anybody seen the new show that I'm on Apple TV? High Desert? Nope. Great.
Is it even out here?
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. It's on Apple TV. Patricia Arquette is the star. We all love her. Matt Dillon is also in it. Bernadette Peters. It's a great show. It's a wacky comedy set in the high desert of California. And I play a cowboy. And what? Oh, thank you. You've seen it. Oh, you're the one. Nice. Yeah, and so with that, I've been playing a lot of music, which is always fun, because the writers are on strike, and so we're all taking a little break, and you know, you got to stay creative. And playing a lot of music with some friends, and painting a lot still. And I'm just really happy to be back here in Italy, and happy to see everybody's faces again. And yeah, let's just get right into it with some questions, and I'll answer them as best I can. Let's start here.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi.
Nice to see you again here.
Thank you. Thanks. Good to see you too.
Thanks. You know, Supernatural is shown all around the world in many different languages. Did you ever heard you speak another language?
Yeah, it's great. I speak great Italian, by the way. And German. Yeah. I've heard the Italian version and I love it. I could listen to it, I could watch it all day. I'm like, actually, that should be the voice.
I think your German voice is really well.
That's German for there's a new sheriff in town. No. I don't know if you understood or speak.
I'm German, so I didn't.
So you understood. You know what I was saying.
That was Swiss before. Yeah.
Thank you.
Swiss German.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi.
I love your paintings and your art, and I especially love your self. I don't know
the self-portrait.
The self-portrait.
Oh, thank you.
And I wanted to ask why you painted it that way.
Well, so I've done several self-portraits throughout the years, and some of my favorite artists that I admire do self-portraits throughout their years as well. And every self-portrait is like a journal entry. It's a self-examination. And this series, I've done a painting series for 20 years called Naked and Famous, and I paint all my friends and people that I've known throughout the years, and it's life-sized portraits. But the very first one that I ever did was of myself, and because I was like, I wanted to paint somebody, but there was nobody around. It was 1 in the morning, and I was battling a dark corner of my soul, and it was only getting worse. And so I was like, all right, I need to get it out somewhere. And so I didn't even have a canvas. I had one of those like pressed cardboard paintings that you would find in a hotel room with a cheap frame, and I spun it around, and I painted on the back of it. I set up a mirror, and just like I was in such this bad place, and I was just looking at myself going, I want to take all of what I'm seeing and just put it onto this canvas. And so
yeah, because you have these colorful sleeves.
well, that's a different one.
Go ahead.
That's the one. That's the latest one.
Okay.
So the one that I'm talking about now is the very first one from 20 years ago when I started the series. So the very first painting of that series was a self-portrait as well.
Okay.
And because nobody was there to paint, and I did feel like it was, I think 2 hours, 3 hours went by. It's like, now it's like 4 in the morning, and I had a finished painting. And I felt so much lighter. All the stuff that I was grappling with was gone. I felt free. I felt completely clear, and I'm looking at this painting going, I think I'm onto something. My girlfriend at the time was also in a dark place. Go figure, we're both in a dark place. We were in the early 20s dating. And I said, come over and bring all your shit. And she did. And I said, just stand there. And she stood there, and I did the same thing. And she felt the same way. And so now we're both looking at these paintings, and suddenly we've got this lightness to us, and I thought, this is the start of a series. So that was the first self-portrait of that series, and now cut to like 20 years later, and probably 5 self-portraits throughout those 20 years, I painted the one you're talking about. And if any of you follow me on Instagram, you can see it on Instagram. But this one was, you're talking about the arms, I went up to finish it one night, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, it was at a time in my life where everything was working, and it just felt great. It was one of the only times I had done a self-portrait where I was like really happy with the person that was looking back at me. And then I saw my hands, and I let everything go and just went at those hands like they were creation themselves, because as physical artistic creators, these are our tools. These are our most important tools. And that's why I wanted to make it look like they were creation themselves.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. First things first, I wanted to thank you for making my first convention ever, the JIP 12. An amazing experience.
This one or the last one?
The 12th one.
Yeah, okay.
The summer last year, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So that's what I wanted to say. And I have 2 questions. One quick and one is a little bit longer. So which one do you want first?
The quick one.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm feeling great. Yeah.
Yeah, because you all, the cast members all ask us if we are great, and we mostly are so nervous that we don't ask you. That's why I'm asking you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's I'm good now. I mean, since we're amongst friends, I'll be very honest. A few months ago, I was not so great. I went through, as we all do. It's this roller coaster ride, and like. Life just got the best of me for a minute there. And you gotta remind. I had to remind myself of, like, first of all, how incredible life can be, and the people in our lives. And I leaned on my friends deeply in that time, and also just creative shit. Like, I know for me, when I get in those things, it's an energy that just gets stuck, and you gotta let it out somehow. So there's a lot of tears, a lot of creation, laughter, just talk it out. And so I can honestly say now, 3 months later, I'm doing really good, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you too. And the longer one is...
Oh, that was long. How am I? Okay, oh God. Let me tell you about my father.
I wanted to ask, when you played Asmodeus in the series, or exactly how did you get it that the white suit you were wearing would get clean all the time? If I just am so curious because I always like, okay, I need to be careful if I eat something, if I'm doing something because of the white dress I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to ask, how do you keep the suit clean the whole time while you were shooting?
I'm a professional.
No, you had a professional washer.
I love that was supposed to be the long answer. Oh, hey, 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 hey! Well, let's see. What should I drink here? What are we thinking here? What do we got? What? Somebody say probably water. Hey, when in Rome, babies. That's gone. No.
Maybe it's
What's the game here?
You just get to choose.
Anybody got any other questions, or should we just? Here we go. Hi.
Hi, Jeffrey. Nice to see you again.
Thanks.
I had the pleasure of seeing you on stage at Rockwood last month.
Oh, wasn't that fun?
It was so much fun. I just wanted to know if you can tell us a bit about how you got into the percussions?
Percussions?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so I used to live in this like back apartment complex, and one of my best friends was a musician, guitarist, incredible, singer, songwriter, and there was one point he was like, you should learn bass, you could play with me. I'm like, I just can't do the thing. And then a lot of times he'd be singing and I'd be padding along. And this is in my mid-20s. So I wasn't at all considered a musician. And then I had this 5-gallon water jug, it was empty, a plastic water jug. And he grabs it one time, he's like, you should try to play this. And he starts playing it like it was a drum. And so I started playing that a little bit, and I was like, oh, I feel like I got a little beat going here. And then another friend of mine had a djembe. And he left the country and said, because he saw me playing the water drum, and he's like, why don't you play a real drum for a couple weeks while I'm gone. And so as he was gone, I was working on doing that. And I decided, all right, I think it's going to be time to buy a drum for myself. And so I bought there's this drum I've had, it was my very first drum I ever bought. And I took it to Burning Man. And this was 2001, when Burning Man was still counterculture. No one knew what it was. Now my parents know what it is. And that was my kind of, and I didn't know what it was. I went there not having any idea what I was getting myself into, but I had this drum. And it was almost like a security blanket type of thing. You know, I took it with me everywhere. But because the desert was so dry, every time after the first day, my fingers started splitting a little bit. But I kept playing. It was this thing that kind of put me into this community where I started actually being able to sustain rhythms. Because when I first started, it was like I'd be drumming, and then I'd get in my head like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Lose the rhythm. And I wouldn't be able to play with anybody who was actually playing music. I was just like, I would go to drum circles and try and just maintain a rhythm. Well, then I took it to Burning Man, I would start playing along with DJs, and still sort of low, not a lot of stakes involved, because if I messed up, the DJ still plays. But through that week, my fingers kept splitting as I was playing, and the drum head was, was covered in blood. But for me, it was an initiation of sorts. And by the end of that first Burning Man that I went to, I felt like I had become a drummer. And then when I got back, the friend that I initially wanted to play along with invited me to play a show with him. And that was the beginning of the whole thing. And I've not put it down since. And I can tell you, it's taken me places that I couldn't have even imagined. There was no context for me to imagine where the drum would take me, what stages I would be on, the people that I would play with, including and especially Loud and Swing, especially that weekend and other times I've played with them. These guys are master musicians, and the fact, I still trip out sometimes when I'm on a stage going, I can't believe I'm having a musical conversation with these maestros. One in particular was in 2012, this friend of mine asked me to play with him on America's Got Talent. And we came in third. I said, hey! And that was a surreal moment. Especially, so I played in the semifinals with him and the finals. And by the way, his name is William Earthhardt, if anybody's taking notes. And he's still playing all around the world, incredible. And I ended up playing a bunch of shows with him, but with the semifinals, it was the most surreal experience of them all, because I played an instrument that he had created called a drumbrella. It was a drumming instrument where he took a flathead drum that was about this big, and then a bunch of small flathead drums around it to look like a flower. He attached it to a power drill, dressed it up, and then a beautiful woman would walk out holding it like an umbrella, and then turn it on, and it starts spinning, and it's blowing the wind in her hair, and I'm in front of it playing it. It was amazing. But then we got a standing ovation from all the judges, and we got beat out by trick dogs. Whatever.
I mean, were they cute?
Yeah, they were cute. They were cute. But so yeah, it's been incredible. And yeah, thanks. And since Rockwood, it's opened up for some reason. I feel like it opened up even when I got back from that. A lot of my friends saw some of the videos from it, and then I've been playing in LA since then, shows that I normally go to these music venues for. I know this is a nice effect with it blowing my hair, but I'm not like this.
You did do a really good work.
Thank you. It was so much fun. Thank you. And I'll be playing on Monday too at the concert. Do we have a question?
If you were arrested, what would your friends and family think you had done?
Wow, that's a great question. What would they think I've done, or what would I hope they think I've done?
Both.
Man, I think they'd probably think it would have
Very good. You're fine. Go ahead. You're good.
I sometimes like to experiment with my consciousness, if you know what I mean.
You did say Burning Man.
Yeah, think Burning Man. So they probably think that I had tuned in, turned on, and dropped out. Something to do with that, probably. Either that or money laundering.
You know, we're about equal.
I wish I knew how to money launder. I wish I had enough money that I needed to launder. Yeah, but probably the other stuff. Hi.
Hey. Hi. The last time I met you was in Birmingham last September.
Yes.
And you said...
Which, by the way, that's what my dad calls Burning Man. You want to Birmingham again for stuff you go out in the desert?
But you said that after the con you're going to head down to London and you were asking us for recommendations for art galleries, and I just wondered where you ended up going, and did you see anything that really spoke to you?
Yeah, the National Gallery blew my mind. I went twice. It was... Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about it. It's like those type of museums and those type of paintings, those from the old school masters, that like inspired me originally to be able to see them again. So, just to give you all the Cliff Notes version, when I was in my early 20s, I got cast in a film that shot in Berlin, and I had never been to Europe. And I asked them to pay me in cash and fly me out of Prague 2 months later. And then so I took the cash and I backpacked Europe by myself. And during that time I went to all the major museums that there were. And when I had gone, before I went on that trip, I was a hobbyist painter. I just did it in my spare time. And there's something about, so I had never been gone for that long, and back then I didn't have a cell phone, so I didn't have an email, and so I found out who I was, and I got to know myself, but there were times where it was lonely, and I would go into these museums, and I would see a painting or a portrait of someone, and I'd see the brush strokes, the evidence of the artist, and I'd have these emotional moments, and I didn't really know where it was coming from or why, but I would come up with stories behind maybe who this person was, and who the artist was, and what their life was. And in those moments, I was connected to this person who was dead 500 years, yet here's this thing that they left behind for me at that moment, just at that moment. And the next church I went into after that, I took my vows as a painter to never stop painting. And hopefully leave behind something for someone who's not even born yet, not even born in 100 years, 200 years. Something about the human experience. And now, I'm going to get off a little tangent here, but now with AI, I think like paintings, physical paintings are even more important than ever. I think they're going to be even more valuable than ever, not just monetarily, but just more valuable to the human soul and the human experience. To leave behind things that just take time. Not only take time to do, but take time to perfect, or to take time to develop the craft, to actually leave something that can speak to someone. So then to come back 20 years later to the same galleries, and this happens to me when I'm in Rome. It happened the last time I was in Rome and went to Florence, to see some of the same paintings that were there that inspired me, but to be now 20-something years into these vows that I took back then as a painter, to see them in that way was a very profound experience, very life-affirming experience, that like to commit your life to something and then feel like you stuck to it and you didn't give up and you're still doing it was, yeah, it was incredible.
Thank you. I also love your answers about your art.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hi.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for coming. It's lovely to see you again.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about High Desert?
Yeah.
Because you got that with Matt Dillon.
Yeah.
And Patricia Arquette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No spoilers.
a couple of things about it. I was doing this other movie called The In-Between, and it was with Jamie King, and she had just worked with Patricia Arquette with Jamie King. No, you guys know the Gift, or no? I'm sorry, The Act with her and Patricia Arquette. Is it Jamie King? I think I'm getting this wrong. Anyway, she had just worked with Patricia Arquette, and I was like, wow, what was it like to work with her? And she's like, oh, it's incredible. She's amazing. And I remember like going back to my hotel that night, going, man, God, I would love to be able to work with her one day. Just kept on, and then I got this audition, and then it was a very long process to get this audition, and then I got it. And next thing you know, I'm working with one of my acting idols. And I can tell you a story, if we want to go way back. Do we got time? We got time for a story, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when I first realized I wanted to be an actor, I was in high school. I had just done the school play. I was looking for something to do with my life. And I remember I was standing in the wings after, it was a dress rehearsal, and I had my costume on, and I'm looking at the lights and at the set, and looking at the other actors, about to, seeing this actress who I'm about to go out on stage and have a scene with. And I thought, God, this was great, this was fun. And I think I'm all right at this. Wow, people do this for a living. I'm gonna do this for a living. And I had that moment. Cut to last year, I'm working on High Desert. And I was about to have a scene with Patricia Arquette. And it was on a stage. And I was standing in the wings. And I looked at the lights. And I looked at the set. And I looked at my costume. And I'm about to go have a scene with Patricia Arquette. And I I did it! Oh my God, I did it. It was a full circle moment. So there was that. And then there was also Matt Dillon, who is another idol that I grew up watching, and it was just, and we were fast friends. He's also a painter. He's also a percussionist. So we had a lot in common, and one of the amazing moments that I'll remember about that is like, during lunch break, we would sit in my van, and I brought a couple of drums, and we would play drums together. And I'm playing drums, and we're just jamming, and I'm looking, I'm like, Matt Dillon in my van, playing drums. So it was an incredible experience.